Hello once again, and welcome to Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock, and it doesn't seem like it's this time of year yet, but unfortunately it is. It's time for our Senior Day episode for volleyball, and joining me to talk about our senior on the volleyball team is head coach Abby Niekamp. Coach, just tell us a little bit about what Morgan Steinbrunner has brought to your program for the last 4 years.
Morgan came in her freshman year, and she just brought this electric energy with her. She's been such an energizer for us these past 4 years, but more than that, she's been a really good leader for us. You know, she's my first 4-year player here, so she's been through a lot, and she's always had my back on some of the decisions I've made with this team, and she's always really bridged the gap between coaching staff and team. So, you know, we owe her a lot for all of the work and dedication that she's put into this program.
And just tell us about some of her accomplishments on the court.
She's been pretty much a starting middle blocker for us since her freshman year, and she kind of battled through a back injury for the past couple years. But she's, like I said, she just brings so much energy, especially in that middle position, because it's somebody that's working on and off the net the entire time that they're in there. So for her to be able to do that on the court, you know, she's been such a impact player for us in that position.
Right. And you talked earlier about, you know, some of her leadership. Tell us a little bit about that, and even some of the things that she's done off of the court that, you know, maybe the fans don't see.
Well, after her first year, we had a lot of turnover with new kids, so she kind of stepped into that leadership role right away. And she's been really good about working with recruits. She's always the first to volunteer to work with recruits and make sure that she's showing them around, taking them to lunch, inviting them back for a second visit to either see the apartments a little bit more thoroughly or just to get around the team atmosphere a little bit better. So she's really stepped up with the recruit aspect of it. And then on the court, she's just really good about being such a positive influence for her teammates. She really tries to hold them accountable while still being very encouraging. And then off the court as well, she's been getting involved in SAC the past couple of years, and she's very involved in the department as a whole. So I know that other coaches kind of go to her as well if they need something for recruits. So it's kind of cool to see her play that role.
All right. Obviously, she's also been heavily involved with the SAC program. Tell us a little bit about her role in that.
Morgan's just, well, you know, because the SAC program's new. So she was one that hopped in right away, and she was like, yeah, I'll do this. You know, organizing the events, the serving at the pizza boxes for our home games. She kind of helped with that a little bit, and just making sure that, you know, she's getting the whole student body involved. So that was really cool.
Right. All right, so losing her after this year, you know, how important is that to you? Obviously, some huge shoes to fill up there at the front of the net.
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of grooming some of our underclassmen to take over for her. Obviously, we're looking for some new recruits to get in there. But I think the main thing with her is the leadership, because she's been so good about, like I said, bridging that for everyone. And she's always had my back, which I've really appreciated from her, of, you know, being really honest with me with what the team needed, but still making sure that, you know, there was never any harm done trying to get both sides to work together really well. So I think that's one thing that we're going to really look to fill next year, is that key player that can really speak on behalf of the athletes and still implement what we need, you know, as a coaching staff.
Okay. All right, your final thoughts on your senior captain.
You know, it's been so good and great working with her, and it's, you know, we're going to be really sad to see her go, but I'm really proud of her for all the work that she's done. And, you know, she's been doing an internship this year and turning that into a job. So I'm really proud of the work that she's done here, and it's going to be a lot different without her in the gym every day. You know, especially Morgan's one of those people that even whenever I'm having a bad day, she's always there trying to pick me up, which I think is really, you know, it's really not a characteristic that you find in everybody. So I think we're going to miss that a lot too.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for your time today talking about your senior on the volleyball team.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that match is coming up here very soon. You can be up there to support Morgan Steinbrunner on her senior night. For more information on that, be sure to go to iueredwolves.com. We'll talk with Morgan Steinbrenner coming up on the other side of the break. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports. And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock, and it's our Volleyball Senior Day episode. And joining me now, the lone senior herself, Morgan Steinbrunner. Morgan, thanks for your time this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Caleb.
Well, obviously, time has flown in your 4-year career here. I know I met you here 3 years ago, and it seems like just a few days ago. But tell us a little bit about your career here as an IU East athlete.
So I signed I started looking at IU East my junior year of high school, and I'd looked at a lot of different schools, but for some reason IU East just felt like home to me. So it was right before my senior season of high school started that I signed, and they were really good that year. They were ranked 12th in the nation. They'd only had 3 losses going into nationals, and they ended the year with only 6 losses, which I think is amazing and really made a statement. And I was so excited to come here. And my freshman year didn't go as planned, but I still felt like my game grew a lot, and I owe a lot of that to Coach Niekamp. She kind of took me under her wing and showed me how to do certain things that maybe I didn't learn in high school. And ever since then, I've just trusted everything that she's told me to do and trusted that it was going to make me a better player. So my freshman year didn't go as planned. My sophomore year, I thought we had a great year. I battled an injury with my back that I'm still kind of battling, and that kind of has slowed me down a little bit, but hasn't stopped me from playing the game that I love. And then my junior year was probably the best year that I've had here, and I know that a lot of it was because I played for Mal and I played for my team that whole year. And then this year, again, not going as planned, but I still love this team and I love all the girls, and it's crazy to me that these 4 years have gone by in such a blink of an eye.
All right. Well, for those that don't know about that back injury, just tell us a little bit about what it is and what all it entails.
So in high school, I would play volleyball and my back would just hurt afterwards, and I was like, didn't think anything of it. I just thought that it was the way I was approaching. And then at the end of my freshman year of here, my back was really hurting, and it was like every time I walked, I couldn't even bear the pain of it. And so I went and I got an MRI, and the doctors told me that my back is I have a degenerative back, so it's deteriorating as I'm getting older, and sports aren't helping it. So basically, some days I can have a great day and it won't hurt at all, and then other days it will be the worst pain of my life. And with that, my hips kind of get off too. So some days I'll be practicing and I'll have to go talk to Jesse, and my hips will be 2 inches out of line. And so it really affects my body a lot. And so sometimes when people might think I'm not giving my all, it's just because I'm in a lot of pain and I'm really trying to give my all. But yeah, so that's been a struggle, but it's definitely made me grow as a person. And on those games that I can't give it my all and I have to sit out on the sidelines, you really see a lot of things. So I don't take it as a step back from me. I take it as a way to grow in the game and in life.
Final home game, Ohio Christian. Obviously always expect a decent crowd for senior night, but aside from all the emotion, what do you expect out of that match?
My hope for the team is that is our best game. I think the big deal with senior night is you really learn how to play for each other on that night. We go back to the Kokomo game last year and how awesome it was and how amazing that we played, but it wasn't because our skill was there, because we made mistakes. We made a ton of mistakes, but it was because we played for each other. And I don't think a lot of people realize that in volleyball, you have to play for each other. It's not an individual sport, because you could have 40 kills one game and you could still lose. Right. So unless you're playing for each other, your outcome won't always be guaranteed. So my hope for that game isn't that we destroy them, isn't that I have a million kills that game. It's that everybody plays for each other and everybody has support for everybody. And I feel like as soon as they feel that, we will be unstoppable as a team.
All right. Think back over the last 4 years. What are some of your greatest memories being on these IU East volleyball teams?
Definitely, I have a few, but definitely when we knock off Point Park my sophomore year, because they didn't expect it. They came into our home crowd and we knocked them off in 5 sets. And then Kokomo my junior year, they came in and we knocked them off. And I was talking to one of the Kokomo girls this past year when we played them at their place, and they said that they were so excited that our game wasn't at our stadium because it is so hard to play at home against us. And that's something to me that shows a lot for Red Wolf Nation and all of our fan base, that they come out and support us every year and that we can give back to them by winning. And So that's definitely going to be one thing, but I think that just the memories of all the road trips and all the stupid things that we did in hotels together and all the laughs and the endless amounts of miles that we've traveled is just going to be what I miss the most, because you never get those days back.
Right. One funny story.
Okay, one funny story. So I do this thing because I'm so tall that when I ride the bus, I lay on the floor. And so I was laying in the middle of the floor. I think you know what story.
Exactly where this is
I know
going.
what story. So I was laying in the middle of the floor and I was sleeping. And all of a sudden, we came up on some traffic, and so our bus driver slammed on the brakes. And as I'm sleeping, I just go crashing forward into the middle. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa! And everybody started laughing because I was sleeping at the time. And then all of a sudden, I'm at the front of the buses by the coach. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was the scariest moment of my life. But it was so funny. And I think that we had lost that game anyway. So I think that it just kind of brightened everybody's moods. And it was so funny. And it's definitely a story I'll never forget, and a lot of times my teammates will be like, hey, Morgan, you remember that one time? Like, especially when I go to lay on the floor now, but they'll be like, remember that one time that you flew all the way to the front of the bus? So, it was funny.
Yeah.
Definitely one of my favorites.
Definitely remember that. I can remember here, it was a quiet bus ride back, and I just hear you sliding up the aisleway, and I look over and I'm like, oh, hey, Morgan.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, I flew up here.
All right. Well, talk about the real reason you're here, obviously academics. Tell us about your area of study and some of the things you've been doing with that. I know you've worked with the Reed Foundation some as well.
Yeah, so when I first came in here, I was dead set that I was going to be a teacher, and I wanted to be a high school math teacher. And then I took calculus, and then I was like, okay, this is not for me because I'm struggling, and I shouldn't be struggling in this if this wants to be my profession. So I kind of went to the business side because I had been in FBLA my whole high school career, and I was the treasurer of our chapter. So I was like, okay, well, let me go to the business side of it. So I started going into business, and then I took a few marketing classes, and I was like, okay, I think this could really be for me, because a lot of people tell me I'm a very personable person, and I have a personality that just like comes out, and I don't really get nervous in front of people. So I decided to concentrate in marketing, and then my junior year, which was my first full term in the business department, I decided that I wasn't going to let sports hold me back from getting an internship, because I feel a lot of times people say, oh, since I play sports, I'm not going to really have time for an internship. So I just made it a point to get an internship. And at first, I was looking everywhere. And then, I can't think of her name. But anyway, she helped me and told me that the Reed marketing department had an internship that was unpaid, but I could still apply for it if I wanted to. So I applied and I got it, and so it was just 6 hours a week at first, and I really liked it, I really enjoyed it, and then my final project was I had to give a presentation on millennials in front of like the foundation, the marketing department, the vice president, and the president of the hospital, and I was a little nervous about that.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. But so then I did it, and after that, the vice president and the foundation pulled me aside and asked me if I would like to internship for them for the summer. And it was full-time and it was paid. So I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. Like, this is great experience. Like, I always get a summer job anyway. So I started working for them, and I love it. Like, I love my coworkers, and I love the fact that the foundation gives back to the community. So a lot of the things that we do, the events that we plan, is all money that we raise to help people in need. And like the mammograms, the Bravo event, that when Bravo comes here, all the money raised goes back to people that can't afford mammograms. We give free mammograms to everybody in need, which I think is a great cause. And I think that with all the community service that I've done here, it just reflects more of what I'm doing in the foundation, which makes me so happy because so many people give their all, and it's nice to give back a lot of times.
And it possibly leads over into a potential job too, right?
Yes. So that's always the goal, and I'm hoping that in January maybe I can go full time there, but it's all in God's hands. And if it doesn't happen, I'll definitely keep looking around, but that would be the ideal situation.
Right. Come graduation time, what's next for Morgan Steinbrunner?
What's next? That's a good question. It kind of just depends on that job. So if I would get a job at Reed, I would just move into the Richmond area, and I would work there, and I'd be happy with that. And if not, then I've been looking around the area too. I'm a very big homebody, and my parents are my best friends, and I love them. And so that's always the end goal for me, is to move home and be close to my family. So I think that right now I've been looking a lot. So it kind of depends on the job situation, but yeah.
Can we see you on the sidelines coaching at any point, maybe, maybe at the high school or middle school level, or, hey, college,
Well, I've always wanted to coach, just because I think that a person that has, kind of like coaching a camp, a person that has gone through the experiences and has had the opportunities to grow in the sport is always going to come back and be a great coach. So that has always been my goal. I've looked into coaching club, either here or back home. I mean, I would always love to come back and coach at IU East if that opportunity would ever come up and they would need somebody. I'd love to come back and coach and give back to the school that gave me so much. So, I mean, obviously it's a goal, but we'll see.
See what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time today. Obviously, congratulations on the past 4 years and coming up on graduation.
Thanks, Caleb.
All right. Well, there you have it from Morgan Steinbrunner. Senior night coming up soon. Be sure to go to IUERedWolves.com for all the details on that match, as the Red Wolves will be taking on Ohio Christian for their final home match of the 2016 season. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports.